when people are getting feedback, what do you think people should feel about it if there is something that they need to work on? Or I'm just wondering what your view is on that.
What they should feel about it, you said?
Yeah, because I think sometimes like it's easy to take it as like you know, like criticism, but actually the feedback is so useful, even the critiques,
Yeah.
because even more so the critiques, because then you can
Yeah.
develop yourself. And I think it reminded me, because we've been through a lot on here about how you do progress and how it's there for, these things are there for a reason, and it is to improve things, isn't it, over time? So
Yeah. A good point. I said this earlier, so I'll maybe make it more explicit now. I mean, there is the thing about separating sort of what you do and who you are, but that's always hard work. It's your work and you've invested a lot in it. Of course you have, but you want to progress. So you've got to be paying attention to the feedback. Yes, some of it's going to sting. You're not as good as you thought. You may be a lot better than you ever imagined. Okay,
yeah.
so funny, people don't revert when it's positive. There's very little said about that. I often say when students do well, when any of us do well, success is an orphan, failure is not. We blame the lecturer. Oh, well, you failed me on whatever. And I always say, well, do you know what? When you got 73, did you say I passed you? It was all down to me, of course, to look at you. So it's easy to blame the marker. It's also important, this is social work we're talking about, but I mean, hopefully all that was said applies to anything. But in terms of vocational qualifications, would you please, that's not you, I'm appealing to everybody listening, please remember that feedback is going to be part and parcel of your life as a practitioner. So you've got to learn to deal with that. Yeah. Now, interestingly, you're going to be giving feedback to carers and service users, and you're probably going to be less thoughtful and feelingful about it than you expect people to be to you. So please bear that in mind. Markers are not going out of their way to annoy your head. More often than not, markers are frustrated that they've told you, shown you, taught you, etc., do things, and you're not paying attention to it. Kelly, my experience mostly has been that generally students know when they've messed up. It's not a big surprise to them. Now, there are certain people, of course, won't listen to any reason. And I've often said to people, do you know what? If you can find what you're saying is in your assignment, and we'll do it now. Now, that's even before, this is what the days before everything was online, particularly because of the coronavirus pandemic, etc. But I would always say to them, look, you read the feedback first. More often people react and haven't even read the feedback, but anyway, they're just looking at they got 30 and they're expecting 90. So say, read it, take a deep breath, read it again, and then pick it up. When I'm giving feedback, I've always commented. In fact, I give too much feedback, really. I haven't got the energy, really, that I'm certainly, markers don't have the time that we'd really need, but I do give plenty of feedback. And I often say to students, I haven't given you generic feedback. I've given you feedback specific to what you've done. Now, if you've worked hard at it, I've given you feedback that'll help. If you've done very little, then I'm not going to give you, like, this is an MOT, and here's 20 ways to improve this. And by the way, Gerry, here's an exceptional circumstances form, so this is going to be marked at 100% again. So therefore, Kaylee has worked herself, to whatever, got her 62. Gerry's done very little, but is able to put this in again, get marked again, get all the tips in the world, and I'm going to get 79. How's that fair? So there's always that sort of stuff. But we've got to find a way of, I said this earlier, self-managing or an emotional regulation. Do not be blaming people for you not doing well. It's on you. Take the feedback, make the thing better to the best of your ability.
Yeah, thank you.